obligate anyone. It simply makes it possible to connect these over the next few years instead of the next 20. And so that's the indulgence I'm asking, is just to create the mechanism. Not that we allocate $1 and bond money. If you want to take that amendment out of it, it makes it a lot harder. I do believe that as we raise the seawall, that is a big part of sea level rise mitigation, storm surge, and resilience. I think it's a good use of the bond funds. It's not, you know, and then sea level rise is what half of that bond is going toward. So my hope is that we pass this just as the mechanism, not the actual promise to go forward, not the actual allocation of $1, but so I can at least start talking to those landowners and see. I don't think it's that sweet a deal for them. They have to pay it back, and they might get a used car at the end of the day. If they don't do this for 10 years, they're going to get a 10-year-old Baywalk.
Did you really mean, Commissioner, what you said?
I'm sorry?
Did you really mean what you said?
Which part?
The part about that you wish that part of that seawall would be in some of our districts? We could make that happen.
Put the seawall in your district?
Well, no, part of that walkway would be in our district.
That I want access. Well, as
We
it
can make
goes
it
up the
happen.
Riverwalk, it definitely will.
I could give you a portion of mine, you could give me a portion of yours, and we could chop it up in other ways.
No, I want to see access to the Baywalk for the whole city. I want to see free access on our transportation to the Baywalk from the whole city, because it could be a beautiful thing for everyone, not just those high rises on the water. They're doing something for us when they do this.
Your intentions are
very
well
good.
intended, and I compliment you for it. The problem is that we have so many bills hitting us, and let's not kid ourselves. We have about 2 more years at the pace that we're going, and that's if the economy doesn't change on us, and it could overnight. Who knows what could happen. And if we don't bring recurring revenue then, we're going to start having problems. And this is why we got to, you know, make every million count. In this case, it's at least 12 million that I count at least that it's going to cost. And we're getting to serious money now.
It's true.
Okay, it's true. There is no motion on the floor.
Oh, I'll
There's
move
no
it.
second.
The Vice Chair
I mean, I
moved
get
it
a
with an
second, but
amendment.
I'll move it. I think the mechanism and the possibility has been well thought out. We've used this on one portion with the Presbyterian Church. The biggest one, other than Genting's spot, you know, there's a few of them, and if we can just connect those spots, we suddenly have miles of connection for people to walk dogs, jog, bikes, the whole thing. And it's recreation and outdoor and green space. I know it's not one of the urgent crises of the city. But like I said, this doesn't spend a dime, and it doesn't force us or the developers to do anything. It just creates a mechanism.
And may I ask you, could you remove the bond and Genting from the,
Genting has already offered to do theirs on their dime, so we wouldn't
but-
activate that one with this legislation.
and the bonds?
Sure.
The bond-
That was an amendment that was being thrown on at the end based on their legal discussions on whether it would be even legal to use the bond funds for this.
And by removing the bond, where the rest of the money is going to come
Then
from?
we don't have it. But maybe we will. And through a fine grant, once we have the easement and we tell the developer half of it's paid for, maybe that's the incentive that gets them to lift a finger for the other half. Because they cannot get the fine grant without us. So this allows us to get a fine grant and cut that seawall in half.
Commissioner Reyes ordered a cheeseburger. He removed the lettuce and the tomato. He said, well, can you take out the pickles? Take off the cheese. Get rid of the burger. Can we eat that? Is that a cheeseburger? It's not a cheeseburger anymore. It's not a cheeseburger.
If that's the 2 amendments, I would accept that as the mover, to remove the bond amendment language. Well, the Genting thing is not really relevant. It's just simply not going to be used there. All of this is optional.
But you could use, I mean, you claim that if, in order to get the grant, you need to have,
Easement.
you need to have easement. And how do you need this ordinance to go and get an easement?
No,
Yes.
we don't need it.
We don't need it.
They can give you an easement.
They can give you an easement without all of that.
They're not. But
That's it, without this,
what this sets in place is the mechanism of how it goes back to them, whose responsibility for cleanup and maintenance, who's got the liability, and by the way, it's all them. This isn't something that we adopt and we have to take care of for
As
you.
it is today, it's still their liability, right?
Right now, it's their empty lot that nobody can walk on, and we don't have a bay walk. So yeah, they have
But
to
I
maintain
mean,
that
now,
too.
even in an empty lot, and you trip and fall, the owner,
They have liability, correct?
it's liable.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just a mechanism, not a done.
Let's build a water walk.
Yes. The little wall,
Build it further out in the water, and we
That's
can
right.
walk across the water.
that's right.
Going once, going twice.
Picture a world-class city. Give me a second here. Come on, let's do this.
There is a motion. I'm not hearing the second. And that motion dies for lack of second. So what I'll do, so there is no, so just so we understood, there's no motion on SR2. SR3 has already been read.